And so here we have truly a fan favorite, Shadow the Hedgehog, which released in 2005. Now, I actually played this game back in the 2000s when it was still pretty new, and I remember as a kid, I thought it was the coolest shit ever. Shadow was so dark and edgy, he had guns, he was dead fucking serious, and he was uncovering his mysterious past. The game had an amazing color palette, black, gray, brown, and on occasion a shit-colored brown with a tint of red. Hey, I didn't say I was the smartest kid. Nowadays I look back and I just laugh at how edgy and serious this game is, and really as time passes on, the game just gets funnier and funnier. And maybe it's just because I have a ton of nostalgia for this game, but I don't think this game is as bad as a lot of people say it is. It's more in the mid-tier of 3D Sonic games. Now when it comes to this game's premise, characters, and general story, this shit is just redonkulous. It's about Shadow trying to uncover every single aspect of his past and take on these aliens known as the Black Arms. Yeah, all of a sudden an alien invasion happens, and then the player actually gets to choose whether or not Shadow wants to be a good guy and help Sonic and friends, or maybe even team up with the aliens and take over the world. The story is just so unbelievably stupid, convoluted, and low-key nonsensical that it goes from being pretty bad to actually pretty awesome. Like, this story and these cutscenes are wildly entertaining for all of the wrong reasons.
What? Goodbye, Doctor.
Like, if you go into this game expecting a really gritty, serious narrative, yeah, you're gonna be pretty disappointed. But if you take a step back and just kind of accept it for how stupid it is, I think you're gonna have a good time with a lot of these cutscenes, particularly the dialogue. Shadow's dialogue is just frankly ridiculous for a majority of the cutscenes.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
This game tries to take itself so seriously, and then it just does like the stupidest shit. For instance, there's one level where Black Doom tells Shadow that he needs to assassinate the President of the United States. You can't make this shit up. And I just can't help but laugh at it at this point. Maybe it's just a guilty pleasure, but I truly think this is one of those game stories, plots, whatever you want to call it, that is so bad, it becomes good. And I think it's pretty cool how you could actually decide whether or not you wanted Shadow to be a good guy or bad guy or something in between. It's a shame though that all of these are meaningless since there is a true canon ending to this game. Anyway, I've been going off about the dumbass story for a few minutes now. Long story short, this is edgy, hedgy at its very best. Like, this really is one of the edgiest video games ever made, especially from a visual standpoint. There is only dark colors in this game, and I think it perfectly captures just how edgy the mid-2000s are. This is like Rip Skinny Jeans, the video game. At least graphically, I think the game was fine for the time. When it comes to actually playing the game, yes, let's talk about actually playing the video game. It is a 3D Sonic game. A majority of the levels see you moving from point A to B, doing plenty of platforming, going fast, and getting into combat. But there actually is some other objectives that show up in this game. See, Shadow can either be a good guy and help Sonic / the military that is still known as Gun, or he can help the Black Arms, the aliens. Or you can just ignore both of them and go straight for the goal ring. Depending on who you're helping, the objectives might change. If you're just going for the goal ring, it's as simple as that. But usually if you want to help Sonic or the military, you got to take out all of the Black Arms in the entire level. And if you want to help the Black Arms, you got to take out all of the military. And then sometimes they'll mix things up and be like, oh, if you want to help the good guys, you actually have to collect these secret discs. But it's never anything more complex than find and collect, defeat all of the enemies in a level, or just get to the goal ring. As for the actual levels themselves, they're pretty up and down. There are some levels that I genuinely think are actually pretty decent here, but there are some levels that are just fucking terrible. Like 100, 100, no cap, no kizzy, inspect weapon. Some of the levels in Shadow the Hedgehog really are some of the worst levels in any Sonic the Hedgehog game. But some levels are actually decently well done. Something that is kind of cool and unique to Shadow the Hedgehog is depending on who you side with, you'll take different routes. For instance, if you side with the Black Arms in the first level, Westopolis, you'll go to a completely different level than if you sided with Sonic or just ran to the goal ring. And you can actually greatly alter your path depending on who you side with, so at the very least you can usually avoid some of the pretty shitty levels. And then depending on who you side with at the very last minute will determine which ending you get. There are 10 different endings, and if you want to get the true canon final level with the real final boss, you have to see every single ending. So that means you have to play through the entire game 10 times. Yeah, the structure, it's pretty awful. There's no two ways about it. You shouldn't have to play through the game 10 times. Like, even with all these different paths and different levels and approaches you can take, you still have to play through Westopolis 10 fucking times. This shit is just ridiculous, and it's easily my biggest issue with the game. If you didn't have to play through it 10 times, maybe instead you only got to get like 5 or 6 of the endings, I think the pacing and just general structure of the game would be significantly better. But my issues don't stop there. The controls just aren't very good. Shadow is way too imprecise and slippery. He's just sliding around all over the place. It doesn't matter how many times I've come back to this game, I'm always just like, yep, the controls are really imprecise. And the combat, yeah, it's just not all that great. I'll finally talk about it. You get to use guns. This game tries to kind of be like a third-person shooter, but I'll be real, the shooting is not very good in this game. It's kind of hard to aim, and some weapons are just low-key useless. You can even get into vehicles, but these don't control all that well, and they're pretty slow. At its very best, the combat, it's okay. It's serviceable. Some of the weapons feel okay, but at its worst, it's just kind of a clunky mess. But it will never not be funny seeing Shadow run around with these giant guns. You can also do these punches and kicks, but it's about as useless as farting on them. And then, depending on which enemies you're defeating, you actually fill up 2 different Chaos bars. One of them is Chaos Blast, which is basically just a screen nuke, and the other is Chaos Control, where you fly forward through a level and it's much better. Both of which, though, don't really add a ton to the experience. The last thing I want to bring up, my last gripe, is that at least in gameplay, it doesn't really matter who you're siding with. For instance, if you're only taking on the military and helping the aliens, they will still attack you, and Black Doom will get mad at you for attacking the aliens, even though they're trying to kill you, and it's like, how is this intuitive? This just never really made any sense to me. Anyway, Shadow the Hedgehog, yeah, it's got plenty of issues, but I think it does have some merit, and all these years later, I still kinda like the game. Yeah, it might just be nostalgia and a guilty pleasure, but I don't think this game just totally falls apart into this broken mess. Could it have been a hell of a lot better? Absolutely, but damn it, it could have been so much worse. Either way, I think I can really only recommend this one to like the hardcore Sonic fans that haven't tried it. I can't imagine most people liking it, but if you love Sonic the Hedgehog or you want to see what Shadow's all about, then yeah, go ahead and try it, or at least listen to the music. Like every other Sonic game, the music is pretty good.